Welcome to Irresistible You. I am your host, Karen Seltz. I am so thrilled to have this guest tonight to bring to you. Her name is Cintra Brown, and I met her at my hot yoga studio. And do you ever meet these people and you just think, oh my gosh, she is so wise, and every single class, of course, there's my dog. Every single class, she's dropping these nuggets of wisdom. In fact, on the back of one of the rooms, there's a quote by her. And I'm like, I read it every day that I go there. I'm like, oh, Cintra, she's so great. Anyways, she brought hot yoga to the Valley of the Sun in the 90s. And apparently, she's brought it to other places like Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And she is a joy. We have such a blast in her class. We are always laughing and she's making jokes. And I love that because many people think yoga and spirituality is meant to be serious. And I say, nay, seriousness is of the ego. So, welcome to the show, Miss Cintra.
Thank you so much, Karen. I'm really happy to be here. And I love the fact that you said that I make jokes because the jokes just come through me. But I do want to start out by saying that I follow the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda, who's a great Indian saint. He wrote the book Autobiography of a Yogi. And he said, in his book, he says, he was sitting in meditation and he had devotees around him and they were waking him up. And he said, Master, Master, wake up, wake up. And he came out of meditation and he was laughing, laughing, laughing. And they said, Master, why are you laughing? And he said, because you all take it so seriously. So I wanted to just, come back to you with that because I think that is an issue. But I also think it's difficult not to take a lot of things seriously. I do.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm one of those people that really try to have everything just roll off my back. I'm not going to take it on. I'm just not going to take it on.
Yeah, that's a fantastic way of being. It's a fantastic way to go. So, all right, I have this question for you. And just to let everyone know, I wouldn't tell her anything I was going to ask her ahead of time because I love things to be organic. And Cintra, you are so wise, and I am picturing you coming out of the womb that way, like a wise child, like, no, I won't have the marshmallow. And I just wondered, were you always like this, or did you go through some hard times that kind of developed you this way?
The latter, Karen, the latter. I went through, quite a rough time in my life. I really did. And I didn't really come through it all until my early 30s. And then I really worked very hard to just stop all the nonsense. I stopped all the drugs, all the alcohol. I just stopped abusing myself. And once I did that, I developed. And I was lucky enough to meet Bikram Chowdhury, my teacher, and he said to me, well, he'd asked me what I was doing in my life. And I said to him, I was working for my husband. And he said, no, you stay here and come to my class every day and I'll make you best yoga teacher. And it was just at the right time of my life.
Mm.
You know, I have a funny story. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll tell you guys it. When when I was working for my husband, he does very well in his business. And we used to have a lot of people come over, a lot of clients come by to the house. This was in Los Angeles, and they never knew my name. They always were, Mrs. Brown, Ray's wife. They just didn't know my name. And we used to go out quite a lot. And this day I was at a hairdresser's, and the hairdresser said to me, how are you? And I started to tell her all about what my husband was doing. He's doing this, he's doing that, he's doing this. And she looked at me and she said, well, that's fine, honey. But what about you? And it was like somebody just hit me on the head, with a piece of wood. And I just remembered that I used to do yoga when I was younger. And so I went to the video store and I asked if they had a video on yoga, and lo and behold, they gave me Raquel Welch's video, which is the Bikram series, the 26 and 2. I took it home and, oh my goodness, this is so hard. I didn't think yoga was going to be this hard. So I did it and was super interested in it. And then I took the video back and I asked if she knew of a yoga teacher, and there was a local yoga teacher that I used to go to every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9. And every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9, my husband had something for me to do. And what happened was, as I got stronger from doing the yoga, I said, no, I have to do this. No, I have to do this. And it wasn't that he was being mean. He just needed stuff done, so anyway, so that yoga teacher gave me, my teacher, Bikram's book, and I just couldn't believe it. It was just so outrageous that an Indian man was acting like he does. He's just outrageous. And so I have to go and see him. So I went to see him. And that's when he said to me at the end of the class, no, you stay with me. I make you best yoga teacher. So I followed him. I stayed with him every day for 3 years. And then my husband wanted to move to Scottsdale, Arizona. And I asked Bikram if I could open up a studio. And so my husband, we moved from, the studios kept growing from one studio, they just kept getting bigger. And my husband, he did all the work on the build out on the studio, the last one that you probably know in Old Town Scottsdale. And at that time, we used to have the studio, the telephone at our home. And so one day I got home, so all the calls from the studios to go to the home. I got home and my husband was on the telephone and he said, yes, I'm Cintra Brown's husband.
Wow, full circle moment.
Yeah. So
as it should be.
Yeah, but it's really a testament to what yoga has done for me, and me working so hard at it, because I just totally believe in it, because of my, look at me, I had that business, for 9 years. I opened up one in Puerto Vallarta 5 years, and I didn't know how to do anything. And my first 2 years of teaching was I just copied my teacher exactly, and I would just walk up and down the classroom, and then it was like all of these things kept coming through me, Karen, like the things that you say that, why we come back, it was just, happiness is not our destination. It is the attitude we choose to travel with, happiness is within you. And it just kept going. And like you, I just believe it comes through you. So that's my journey. And the thing is, I'm still doing it. I don't even want to tell you what year that was.
You could. That would be more of a testament to yoga. I am really curious, what I know for me, like life has hit me on the head several times and my
Yeah.
lessons have gotten louder and louder. What was it for you? You said there was some drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
What was it for you that was like, okay, wake the F up, now is the time?
Well, believe it or not, my husband told me to get out. He said, he says, you get out or get help. And what was weird about that was that I wanted to leave so many times because he was always on at me about, the way I was drinking. And it was just that day, you know, that was the day. And then I just decided to go and get help, you know, and you know, through showing up, through building relationship with a God, um, that's what's kept me here, you know, and thank God, I'm very grateful for my life. I'm very, very grateful. And I think that's also kept me in the game, is just my gratitude for every day.
Yeah. Do you think, you mentioned, I am Mrs. Brown, like everybody, so many people saw you as that. What do you think contributed to the pain that you were trying to mask with alcohol?
There were a lot of things, Karen, that you know, I just did not want to face anymore. But a lot of it is things that happened to me when I was younger that I don't really want to talk about
Yeah.
on this platform. But I'm happy that I found a way out of it. And what's interesting about finding a way out is just that I've been able to help so many people, you know, and that's really my blessing that I have. You know, I like to say that my classes are jammed, crammed, and so, and I know people are drawn to me because I'm not just teaching the 26 and 2, you know, I'm talking about deeper things. And the deeper thing for me is that what we're searching for is within us. And that's what yoga has brought to me. You know, I realize it's taken me a lifetime, though, guys, it's not something that's happened overnight. I realize that I could not get it in the thing, you know, to fill me up. The only thing that fills me up is my relationship with my God.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. It's really interesting. I have a history of addiction too. You probably don't know that. And I was constantly seeking, something out there to fill me up. And it never worked. It was like in recovery they call it a God-sized hole. It's like we keep trying to put things in it and it just keeps like draining out. And I mean it takes what it takes to really get it, that it's an inside job. And we hear those sayings. So is there a way that you can put it where people actually get it, because you've embodied it? And it, like I said, to me, you look like you've always been this way. I didn't realize,
Oh, I
I see
honestly,
you like Jesus, like you just like came out of the womb like that, like enlightened.
you know, honestly, I think the way I look has got a lot to do with it. You know, honestly, I look like I should be a yoga teacher, you know, and the way I feel. Okay, what was the question?
Like, how did you really get the lesson that the
Okay,
only thing that can fill the hole is your relationship with God?
okay. Honestly, how I got the lesson was through the practice of doing the actual asana. And seeing, this is what I keep kind of banging on about in the class, you know, like my whole spiel is come to class, come to class, come to class. Well, why do I want them to come to class? You know, I get paid exactly the same money if I have 10 people in there or if I have 30 people in there, but I still want them to come to class. And the reason why I want them to come to the class is the yoga works you. So if you do, you know the line that I say, come every day for 2 months, but 2 years works best. So if you do that prescription, if you do it every day for 2 years, you change. You change inside to outside. You come in at a lower level of energy. And through the actual practice, the energy raises. And so it changes you. I'll give you a good example. When I ran the school in Old Town Scottsdale, I had one of the student's daughter worked the front desk, and she, you know, checking in people. And one day she came to me and she said, Cintra, she said, some people when they come to yoga, they're not very nice, but once they start coming, they become nice. And so that is really what happens. And so, I do need to say to you that at the same time as I met Bikram, my teacher, he did say, read the book Autobiography of a Yogi. And we were living in Hollywood, and there was a autobiography. Paramahansa Yogananda started a fellowship called Self-Realization Fellowship, and they have temples all over the world. Well, I happened to be very close to the Hollywood temple, and Bikram school was very close too. So at the same time I met my teacher, I read the book and I started to go to the temple. So both things were happening at the same time for me. I was doing the practice and I was learning about the philosophy of yoga. So that's been my journey. And so I learned to meditate from that time on. And it's really through learning to still the body so that you can meditate. And once you really have just got a little taste of what happens in meditation, then that's what fills the whole. Then you come to realize that there is nothing out there. I can't tell you how much money I spent on Forever 21. I was just always running to the shop and, like getting stuff. And I also do think, Karen, age has a lot to do with it. As I've got older, a lot of that stuff is just dropped away. And I really do make a conscious effort to meditate daily, morning and evening. What I say to myself is, my time with God, my meditation with God is the most important appointment of my day. And if I'm too busy for God, I am too busy. So no matter what, like for instance, tonight, when I come off here, I'll probably start dinner, but I'll put something in the oven and then I'll just go in my room, just back here, and do my meditation. So no matter what, I do it. And I do it in the morning as well. So that's what, and I do want to speak a little bit about meditation because so many people are confused. They think that they can't do it, which is rubbish, and what, from my experience of it, it doesn't matter if you go and sit down to meditate. So I'll do some prayers, I'll do some breathing, pranayama, and then I'll sit there. I always put a timer on because otherwise I'm just thinking, what time it is and all of that. So I put a timer on. It can be anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, depending on what I have going on. And sometimes my mind is not still, but what I know and understand, it's through the effort. Like God sees all our efforts. So even though like my mind is monkey mind, I'm still going to that place to make this conscious effort to build this relationship. And sometimes I just want to say thank you, and I love you. And that's really all that's needed to be said if you are not able to still the mind. But the more I do it, the easier it is for me to sit. I remember when I first started it, I used to sit on my hands because seriously, I'd sit on my hands, I can't do this. And, it's just through making the effort. And it has really made a big difference in my life.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge meditator. So yeah. All right. So we get to the topic, your word is your bond, because I could talk to you about your story all day long, and you're so wise. I would love for you to share, what comes up for you? Like, how did you come up with this? I love the whole title, Your Word is Your Wand. So
Yeah,
talk a little bit about that.
I will. Well, it doesn't come originally from me. It comes from a book written by Francis Shogo Shin. And when I was living in Mexico, I really didn't enjoy what it was that I was like queen bee here in Scottsdale, and then my husband wanted to move to Mexico, and I was like, what's going on now? And even though I ended up having a great time there, you don't get mail in Mexico. And then one day I went downstairs and there was this book on my, it just arrived. And the book was sent by my naturopathic doctor, and it was called Your Word is Your Wand, the Game of Life and How to Play It. And she's talking about there are three parts of the mind, and the conscious mind sees everything. So the conscious mind could say, look at myself and say, oh, I don't look well today. I'm getting sick today. I'm sick today, and I'm tired, and I don't have any money. And so that's my conscious mind. Unfortunately, what happens, that registers on the subconscious mind. And that is going to happen. Your word is your wand. So what will happen is eventually, it might not happen that day, eventually the conscious mind will act it out. So I will become sick, and I will be poor. So I don't even like talking these words while I'm here. I'm like, you're not allowed to do that. So your word is your wand. You have to speak, like an example. Okay, I'll tell you this example. When I had the first studio in Scottsdale, this was a tiny little room. This woman walked in on my birthday, and I said to her, oh, you're going to be with me for the rest of your life, for the rest of my life. And that was some 30 years ago. And she became a naturopathic doctor. She's a big time naturopathic doctor here in town. And I've moved, I went back to London for 10 years, and I was in Mexico 5 years, and no matter where I've been, she's still with me. She's still my doctor, and a great one at that. I'm very fortunate to have her. The other thing that's happened through words, my family have my mother and my brother had very weak gums, and I have just said over and over and over, my gums are strong and healthy. My gums are strong and healthy. And just recently I finally found a great dentist here, and he said that my gums are strong and healthy. And I do it, but with my hair as well, because my mother had really thinning hair, and I keep saying my hair is thick and gorgeous, So I really watch everything that I say. For example, in my classroom, where there's a pose called awkward pose, and you put your arms out there. You might have heard me do this. And I used to say in the old days that they'd be dropping their arms and stuff, and I'd like give them a reason to keep their arms up, and I would say, ladies, the first thing that's going to go is your arms, and the second thing that's going to go is your husband. So I just stopped saying it because I don't want that to happen. Luckily enough, I've still got good arms, and I've still got my husband, but I don't want to jinx it. So I absolutely believe 100% that by your spoken word, you can change your circumstances. And the superconscious mind is where the divine plan of our life is, the divine design of our life. And we have to connect with that. And one of the ways we can connect with it is through the word. And the word has to be powerful to reach the superconscious mind. So I work very hard on not using negative words about anything. Also, those words, the things that you say, can come back to you. And I don't want to experience that. Now, this, I hope it doesn't, I come across it like being this, goody goody, because I'm not, because all of this has taken me time, and I don't always stick to the program. I fall off sometimes, and I just have to get back on, but that's just life. That's just life. A sign of a great person isn't one that doesn't fall. It is one that falls and is willing to pick themselves up. And
My philosophy in your class.
what's that?
I
What's
said,
that?
that's my philosophy in your class.
Yeah, willing to pick themselves up. And I do that. I pick myself up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm really big on language. I've been aware. I actually read that book that you're talking about many, many years ago. I have it here.
Yeah.
And I put together at some point, I just started making a list of disempowering phrases and words and then substitutes for them. And now it's really like 5 pages long. And
Yeah.
I just keep adding to it. And it's super helpful. I give it away to people because a lot of times they're not aware. Even the word try, for example, people think that's a good word, but it's really disempowering because the subconscious mind doesn't know if you've succeeded or not.
That's right. That's right.
And
Yeah.
there are other ways of doing it, like say, I'm committed or I will do my best. And then also, I love what you said, and I'm going to reiterate it when you talked about the negative words. I mean, I've studied the subconscious mind for 20, 30 years now. And one of the things that I am very much aware of is that the subconscious mind and the universe do not hear the negative words. So if you say, I don't want to get in an accident, it hears, I want to get in an accident. So you get to be really clear, what do you want?
Yeah.
And say that and think that.
Yeah.
And when you catch yourself, just correct it.
Just
It's,
correct it.
that's it. I mean, none of us is perfect.
Well, if you
Yes.
remember in the book, she says, like when something comes up, or you said something that is negative about yourself or about somebody else, you immediately say, I now smash and demolish anything that is not of divine mind. So that, and the fact that it's smash and demolish, it's like it breaks it up. So don't forget that thoughts are like a record, and they just keep going round and round and round and round. So when you catch yourself having that thought, the same thought, I know for me, often I have the same thoughts every day. Like when I'm walking the dog, I'm thinking the same thing that my dog is doing that same, like it's the same thought. So that's not particularly a negative thought, but if it is a negative thought, the best way to overcome it is to superimpose a positive thought. I am well, I'm great. That's why I say that in class. You're great, you're good, you're gold.
Yes, yes, you do. We all say it in class, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really important to start. I had one teacher one time say, stalk your thoughts. And I love that. Like
Yeah.
actually like, observing them from out here. You're not being attached to them. You're just observing. I think that's really beautiful. So Cintra, we are almost at time. So how can people find you if they want to work with you? And what kinds of ways do you work with people?
Well, I do one-on-one yoga sessions, and usually a lot of times that turn into a little bit of yoga therapy, mental and physical. The best way to contact me is to get onto my email list. Do you want me to announce that now, Karen?
Yes, please.
Okay. And also I do workshops around, I do workshops anywhere, actually. They just invited me to do a workshop in London. So my email is Cintra, Cintra, yoga, 4 at gmail.com. I hope I hear from you.
Yeah, so if you want to get on her list, just shoot her a quick email, Cintra Yoga, 4 at gmail.com, and say, hey, I want to be on your email list. Keep me posted. I want to be first in line for your next workshop. Whether it be online or if you're in the Arizona area or in London, she's amazing in every way. And I hope that you got a good taste of that. So, is there anything, any last words you want to leave people with tonight? Any encouragement, inspiration? You always drop these one liners. In fact, I do some of your quotes and make them pretty sometimes.
I don't like to be corny, but honestly, if I only had one lesson to teach, it will become two. It would be gratitude and meditation.
Mm. Every day.
Every day. Learn to be grateful for everything that you have. Practice contentment. Satisfaction comes from enjoying what you have, not from getting what you want.
Beautiful. Anything else?
The commitment raises a high level of energy because it eliminates indecision.
Mm.
Yeah, so that was a great one for me. Just making commitment to show up. Showing up is probably 90% of life, really.
Yeah.
Show up. It's
Beautiful.
not what you do, it is why you do what you do. What you do is just the outer shell. Motivation is the spirit in action. And so before you act, speak, check your motivation. Is it going to improve someone else? Is it going to help the world? So, sometimes I think, wow, I've got so much work. I'm really always trying to improve myself, but that's because I believe that we are here to improve ourselves and help others improve mentally, physically, spiritually, materially.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Cintra. This has been amazing. I could talk to you for so long.
Oh, thank you, Karen. I've had a great time, really good time. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for watching Irresistible You Ignite Your Passion and Purpose. I will see you right here next week. Bye.